welcome everyone, and thank you again for joining us today at Memorial Arena. Presented by Enbridge, the St. Thomas and District Chamber of Commerce is proud to host our 2026 Lunch with the Mayors. We sell tickets to this event by promoting a delicious lunch, followed by insightful remarks from our mayors. I think we can all agree that today's caterer made with love delivered on its commitment of providing a delicious lunch. So now it is just up to the three mayors to bring it all home. Alrighty, so let's set the tone for the rest of our time together this afternoon by giving a warm St. Thomas and Elgin County welcome to Mayor Jones, Township of Southwold. Mayor Preston, City of St. Thomas. And my neighbor, Mayor Andrew Sloan, Municipality of Central Elgin. Now, I mentioned at the top of that today's event is presented by Enbridge, who we'll hear from in a couple of minutes. But this is just one of our many generous event partners. As such, please join me in thanking the following community sponsors, and I'm going to do my best with having people stand up. So table 3, our friends at Libro right over here. I'm going to ask you to stand up. We might as well get the bang for your buck for your sponsorship. Libro is there we go. Libro is a purpose-led, 100% Canadian-owned credit union that prioritizes people and community over profits. As a certified B Corp, they reinvest 100% of their earnings into the local families and businesses they serve across southwestern Ontario. By pairing expert financial coaching with social impact, Libro empowers member owners to achieve lasting financial well-being. And I was amiss right at the top. I missed one of my notes. There are a number of other elected representatives in this room, starting with our MPP, Rob Flack. A number of city councillors, and I'm going to have you stand up. I'm not going to see or recognize everyone from the City of St. Thomas. I do see a couple right there, as well as some of the lower 2 municipalities across Elgin County. So could you guys all stand up, please? I've probably written it a little bit down a little bit later in my run of show, but one of the most important things we do here at the Chamber of Commerce is connecting our local business community, our businesses, our nonprofits, and our charities to our elected representatives. So one, thank you to the businesses for being in this room, but also thank you to those who serve our communities through the thick and the thin. It's not a job I would want. I much prefer to be able to say my words, sit down, and then have the rest of us grill them. Next sponsor, with over 50 years of expertise at Table 4, Graham Scott Ends, you guys can stand up, provides relationship-focused financial solutions to individuals, businesses, and municipalities throughout the region. From offices in St. Thomas and Elmer, their team delivers a full suite of services ranging from tax planning and auditing to specialized succession advisory. They prioritize deep client connections to transform complex financial challenges into opportunities for long-term prosperity. They are the Chamber's auditors, and I even used them when I was at the Hospital Foundation. Table 3, and I think there's 2 groups at Table 3, but this is EBRC. Please stand up. Oh, wait, sorry, I'm the wrong side. The Elgin Business Resource Centre is a federally funded nonprofit dedicated to fueling entrepreneurship and economic growth across St. Thomas and Elgin County. This one-stop shop offers flexible business loans, free one-on-one advising, and professional workshops for startups and established firms alike. Through high-impact initiatives like The Pitch, which just happened, the Elgin Business Resource Centre transformed local ideas into sustainable job-creating realities. If you want to know where they are, they're located now in the Queso station, so find the Chamber office and then walk as far away from the Chamber office as possible, staying in the building, and that's where they're located. That's up a floor and next to MP Lawton's office. Table 5, I haven't had a chance to even chat with them today. Someone's going to Table 5. BDC, you guys, your time's coming. Manage Point Technologies. No one's here, but they were lovely. We actually were at the lunch with the mayors with them a couple weeks back. So man, clap away, please. Provides full-service managed IT and cybersecurity to help Southwestern Ontario businesses turn technology into a competitive advantage. They deliver a full-stack IT department experience through proactive 24/7 monitoring, custom software development, and cloud migration support. By embedding industry-best security into every solution, ManagePoint ensures local businesses stay protected, efficient, and ready for growth. All righty. Table 5, it's your time. Right? That's it. Thanks. The Business Development Bank of Canada, there we go, is Canada's only bank devoted exclusively to entrepreneurs, providing the specialized capital and advice needed to scale small and medium-sized businesses. As a federal crown corporation and another, our second certified B Corp this afternoon, they offer flexible financing and venture capital to bridge gaps in the traditional lending market. By combining tailored loans with strategic consulting, BDC empowers owners to innovate and complete on a global scale. Now, these guys were really eager to be here today, and I love it. Tables 6 and 7, our friends at the London and St. Thomas Association of Realtors is one of Canada's, sorry, you stand up, right? One of Canada's largest real estate boards, representing nearly 2,300 professionals, some of which are in this room today across Middlesex and Elgin counties. LSTAR, which is a fantastic acronym, I was told that, right? St. Thomas puts the star in LSTAR, I was also told. LSTAR enhances member expertise through specialized education, cutting-edge MLS tools, and powerful advocacy for home ownership. By upholding a strict code of ethics and providing detailed market insights, LSTAR ensures local realtors foster vibrant, sustainable communities. And finally, before I turn this microphone over for a second, our friends at 94.1 My FM, Table 8. It's Kennedy all by herself. Oh, Ian's there as well. Is St. Thomas and Elgin County's premier community-first radio station, defined by an unwavering commitment to all things local. As the region's only source for exclusive local weather and hourly breaking news, they keep the community informed and entertained in real time. A jumbo-sized booster of all local charities, MyFM serves as the essential daily heartbeat for residents and businesses alike. So thank you so much. And I know they're not in the room, so no one has to stand up, but thank you to Gearlinks Home Hardware for gussing up our stage to incredible effect. Grateful for that. And of course, I want to thank you, the Chamber's esteemed members. You have each taken your time out of your busy schedules to join us here today, to be in the room with 600 of your peers. That's just businesses, let alone the people that work there. We are an impactful business organization, but it's only because you show up, it's only because you care, and it's only because you empower folks like me to come to the microphone and have these conversations with our elected officials. Now I'd like to invite Chamber President Maria Fiallos to share a few words. Maria.
Thanks, Paul. Welcome, everyone. Major Grant Jones, Major Andrew Sloan, and Major Joe Preston. Welcome to the 2026 lunch with the mayors. My name is Maria Fiallos, and on behalf of the St. Thomas and District Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, I'd like to express our gratitude to all of you for being here today. One of the most important roles that the Chamber of Commerce plays is bringing the business community together and bringing businesses and our elected officials together. When we work together, community thrives, barriers are broken, and strategic connections are made. And that is why you are here today. So I hope this is an absolutely wonderful time. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Graydon Lang and his team from Established Media for producing today's event, as well as Tim O'Neill, Rogers TV, for broadcasting it later for our viewing pleasure. perhaps repeatedly. And I also want to point out the Workforce Planning and Development Board. There's cards on your table, and we're gently encouraging everyone. I can see Patricia smiling that she runs that organization. We kindly ask that you complete the Employer One survey before the deadline, which is today. So it's extended to, it was a lot better when it was today, because it seemed like no one's leaving this room until that happens. Next, please join me in welcoming Sonia Basu, the Partnership Manager of the St. Thomas Elgin Local Immigration Partnership, to share our land acknowledgement.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me here today. My name is Sonia Basu, and I am here on behalf of the St. Thomas Elgin Local Immigration Partnership, or STELIP, within the YWCA St. Thomas Elgin. As we begin, I want to acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, Lenape-Wauk, and Attawandarons peoples, connected through the dish with one spoon and the Upper Canada Treaties. Today, Elgin County is also bordered by the communities of Munsee Delaware Nation, Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, and Oneida Nation of the Thames. Together, I encourage us to recognize that truth-telling is a crucial step on the path to reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. Canada's legacy of colonization, systemic racism, and forced assimilation has caused profound and lasting harm. Indigenous children were taken from their families, stripped of language and culture, and subjected to abuse and neglect, with impacts that continue to shape inequities in health, education, and economic opportunity today. Facing these truths is necessary if we are to contribute meaningfully to healing and reconciliation. This acknowledgement is not about the past alone. It is about responsibility in the present. A land acknowledgement can be a formality, or it can be a call to action. One practical step leaders can take is to build real relationships with Indigenous communities and Indigenous-led businesses through partnership, procurement, and learning locally. When relationship comes before optics, acknowledgement becomes action. As we recognize Black History Month, I want to affirm Black communities whose labor, leadership, and entrepreneurship have shaped southwestern Ontario for more than 400 years. Alongside these contributions are histories of exclusion that still affect opportunity today. A practical action for leaders is to open opportunity with intention. By supporting Black-owned businesses, reviewing hiring practices, and asking whether our systems are finding talent or filtering it out. As we approach International Women's Day, I also want to affirm the leadership and resilience of women, including newcomer, immigrant, and gender-diverse people. One practical step is to move from encouragement to elevation, inviting women into decision-making, recommending them for advancement, and ensuring workplaces are safe, respectful, and flexible. When women thrive, workplaces are stronger. I want to bring this back to STELIP. STELIP is a community partnership that supports employers, municipalities, and service providers to strengthen newcomer settlement, belonging, and long-term retention. One key action businesses can take is adopting a skills-first mindset. Many newcomers bring deep experience, even if credentials or job titles look different. Skills-based hiring, clear onboarding, and mentorship create real advantages in a tight labor market. Another powerful action is to be a connector. This room holds networks with real reach. When we connect people to opportunity and to one another, communities and economies grow together. My closing invitation is simple. Choose actions that build relationships, remove barriers, and open doors. These are the actions that turn acknowledgement into outcomes. Thank you for your time today and for the work you do to shape the future of St. Thomas and Elgin County.
That was fantastic. Thank you, Sonia. Now, finally, before our mayors wow us with their insights, I would like to welcome Embridge's Megan Shannon. I'm not sure they've named the business after you yet, but you can see. I'm going to pump your tires. So Megan is the bridge between critical infrastructure and the communities it serves. As advisor of municipal and stakeholder engagement at Embridge, she navigates the high-stakes intersection of utility, public affairs, and communications. Megan translates complex energy projects into clear collaborative dialogues, embodying the belief that life takes energy. She plays a key role in advancing Embridge's commitment to corporate social responsibility, ensuring that as the company delivers the energy people need, it does so by investing in local safety, environmental sustainability, and community vibrancy. Whether she is consulting with local officials or aligning with stakeholders, Megan's mission is simple: build trust, ensure transparency, and keep the energy moving. Megan.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have to say that was the nicest introduction I've ever received. But yeah, it's a pleasure being here with you all today. And we're proud to sponsor today's lunch with the mayors and to support conversations like this one that are focused on growth, collaboration, and the future of this region. I'd like to thank the mayors of St. Thomas, Central Elgin, and Southwold for your leadership and for being here today. I'm looking forward to hearing your perspectives. At Enbridge Gas, our commitment to our customers and communities is at the core of everything we do. We serve regions that are growing, attracting new industry, and creating jobs. And in places like St. Thomas and Elgin County, that growth depends on energy that is reliable, resilient, and ready when it's needed most. I'd also like to thank the St. Thomas Chamber for bringing everyone together and for making this such an enjoyable and successful event. Reliability is not an abstract concept for us. It's why Ontario has the most dependable natural gas systems in North America, supported by infrastructure like the Dawn Storage Hub. This is a critical asset that helps ensure homes are heated, businesses can operate, and industry can keep running during periods of peak demand and extreme cold that we've experienced over the last couple of weeks. That reliability matters even in fast-growing communities like this one, where energy needs are increasing and downtime is not an option. Safety is another essential part of how we show up locally. Through initiatives like Safe Community Project Zero and Assist, we've worked alongside fire departments in Elgin County and St. Thomas to help reduce fire and carbon monoxide-related risks with a simple but powerful goal: zero preventable deaths. As this region continues to grow and attract new employers, we understand the importance of having an energy system that can support economic development today, not just in theory, but in practice. That means dependable supply, proven infrastructure, and close coordination with municipalities and local leaders. We're proud to support today's conversation and to work alongside you as this region continues to build for the future. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the discussion ahead.
All right. So for today's conversation, I'll serve as the moderator. At that point, I'm going to enjoy one of the comfy chairs. And ultimately, the purpose of this event is to provide our membership with an opportunity to connect and share their thoughts and ideas with our municipal representatives. Our goal as a chamber is to build, enhance, and grow relationships between our local business community by providing regular and impactful platforms for them to engage and share ideas. With more than 600 member businesses, nonprofits, and charities, the Chamber speaks with a powerful and united voice. And in short, and I do mean to get cocky here, we are an organization very much worth listening to. So over the next hour and a bit, each mayor will be given 10 minutes to provide a state of the respective municipalities address. And the order of speaking is Mayor Grant Jones, then Mayor Joe Preston, and Mayor Andrew Sloan. And then following this, we will answer some pre-submitted questions as well as a few of my own. So now, please join me in welcoming Mayor of the Township of Southwold, His Worship, Grant Jones.
Well, thank you, Paul, and thank you for the Chamber for another year up here. It's great to be here. I'd like to start off by recognizing my staff and counselors that are here. This has been one heck of a year, and we couldn't do it without the knowledge that we have around the table there. And Jeff and his crew have done a great job keeping us moving forward. And I'd like to recognize council. This is probably the best council I've ever sat with. And it's nice to see all 5 people pulling in the same direction, all having different perspectives, different job experience and life experience, and we all managed to agree at the end of the day and move the train forward. I'd like to recognize Rob Flack, who I know had another engagement he had to blow out here. Minister Flack has been a great supporter of Southwold over the past 3 years, and we couldn't have done it without him. So, the last year, a lot of big announcements, a lot of accomplishments, a lot of goals set. So I'm going to start off by, about 2.5 years ago with the $28 million announcement for Fingal and Shed and wastewater and transfer piping in the ground. And that project continues all through the cold weather. They've managed to keep things moving, wastewater plants being put together. Commissioning for the wastewater line is supposed to happen in the next few days, and we're looking forward to that commissioning. I know DHP is also looking forward to that announcement, along with a few other people. With the announcement of the next 24.7 million about a month ago, that really sets us up for a huge future for a long time, that we'll be moving things forward in Talbottville as well, because the plant we have is nearing capacity. It has some challenges, and we need to address those challenges, and this 24.7 million will make sure that we have growth for a long time to come. It'll also cover a little bit of industrial and commercial growth, which we desperately need in that area. So those are things that, without this money, it's very difficult to do. So it's a transformational project for both Talbottville and Fingal and Shed. So also last summer, we, as warden, I got the privilege of announcing another $3.6 million that the county of Elgin received from the province for the redevelopment of the Fingal intersections and Union Road and Fingal line, which are county roads that go through the town, are going to be redeveloped. Signalized intersection, upgraded curbs, wastewater will be going through, storm sewers. A really innovative project there where we're putting one storm sewer pond in. It's going in Fingal Optimus Park on some land that wasn't being used, and it'll be they'll create a wetland effect with trails around it for teaching, bird watching, and this pond will take care of most of Fingal. All the new subdivisions that are going in all the water will be going into that pond. And really exciting project. It's thinking outside the box, so we don't have 5 or 6 stormwater management ponds. We just have one that will access most of Fingal, which is not really heard of. Like every developer is usually responsible for their own one, and now we're doing it for them and charging accordingly. So with that money, we also have the opportunity, with respect to Talbottville or Fingal and Shedden, is we have a chance in a lifetime here where the growth is going to be around 1,400 homes to do it right the first time, because what we do today and the next couple of years is what's going to be seen for the next 50, 80 years. And that's significant. So we want to get it right the first time, and we want to make sure that our communities are walkable, they're safe, and inviting for people to stay, come, visit. And that's the intent of what we're trying to do. And it takes a lot of forethought, foresight, to understand what that means, because this is significant, and you only get one shot at it. And we hope we're doing it right. And I know we have a very progressive council and staff that are understanding that how important this is to us. So yeah, we'll also in Fingal, we're creating new gateway features, sidewalks that are safe and walkable, bikeable. We want to see people bike to the corner store instead of driving their car, that sort of thing. So with the province kicking in 73% of these grants, for the total of almost $56.1 million for one small little township, and that really is unheard of. So we, when you look at 1,400 units in Fingal and Shedden, with the expansion of the Tallville, we're looking at another 1,260 on top of what's already there. That is game-changing for a small community, and it's got its challenges. We'll work through them, but we'll get there. So we're looking at the grand opening of a lot of things that happened this past year. The Tallville Fire Hall, which was going to be what's going to be there for the next 50, 60, 80 years. And we're very happy with how that build turned out. It's going to cover that whole end of the township for a very long time to come. Also, the new Public Works building, which we haven't really announced. We're going to have a grand opening here when it gets a little warmer, but I'd like to shout out to Barebow Construction, who built both for us. They are a great company that done a great job. I've been in construction my life, and I know what a good build looks like, and staff and council, we can't say enough good things about how Barebow has produced both buildings. So with the Shedden, obviously Shedden's growing, it will be growing. We have the main intersection where we've had an opportunity to dispose of a couple of public properties, and with DHP being one of the builders in Shedden, has proposed a project for what was the Shedden Library, and the small mall that was there. They will be at some point putting a new building up, tearing the old stuff down, and it'll be a commercial / residential, 2 floors of residential above the commercial. And across the road, Evelyn's Sausage offered to buy the old fire hall, and we accepted the offer, and Evelyn's in the last little stage of opening up her storefront there. It'll have a cafe in it as well, maybe a small lunch bar, and plus her own products being sold there. Her new processing facility will be outside of town, so Evelyn is really, and DHP, and even Mike's Country Grocer. Mike has been a visionary since he come to town, and at some point about 5 years ago, he bought the old CIBC bank and converted it. It's now a pharmacy, and Mike has more plans for his store. So that's just what happens when you put the facilities in place for growth, and the future looks really great for Shedden. There's other opportunities down the road, but it's a great start when you can see 3 corners of a small community start to grow, and the people behind it, the community saying this is what we need and this is what we want, and now we're showing the signs of that labor. Of course, can't miss the land donations over the past year. First, we had Jim Lyle and his family, and John as well, 35 acres that was donated to Kettle Creek Conservation Area, named the Stanley Lyle Grove Conservation Area, which attaches to Deer Ridge to the south. So it's great when you can see farmers and the community reach out and say conservation is important to us. And it gives us an opportunity to create more diverse parks, for one thing. When you see that happen, there's opportunities for people to go out and enjoy nature in a natural area. So Kettle Creek's hard at work, working on invasive species removal and tree planting and wetlands for that one. And then a month ago, we have, after about a year of working with Werner and Myrna Stoss and family, we've come to an agreement with, along with Lower Thames Conservation Authority and Southwold and the Stoss family for a further donation of 78 acres of woodlands just south of Shedden, which will back on to the one, the first subdivision that's already started. And this is an opportunity where you have natural heritage woodlands. The Talbot Creek runs through it, so what's going to happen there is just immeasurable as far as our parklands and the opportunity that it presents itself to the local new subdivisions that are going in. This is something that took a year to get to where we can make that announcement, but when we done our Parks Master Plan, there's a piece of ground missing in the middle that for the final, when the final report come out, and we couldn't put a name on it, but we knew what was happening. But now we have a name on it. It's called Five Maples Conservation Area, which will interconnect Fingal to Shedden. We'll have one trail that multi-use trail that'll connect both. We have some landowners on board already, so we know it will happen over the next few years. That, you know, you can't say enough about when you want inclusive communities and walkable communities and opportunities. Now we have roughly a 3-kilometer trail eventually that will connect the two communities together, and that's really proud of that one. It's Lower Thames has committed to creating a citizen advisory group to look what we do next with they do next with the property, but it will involve being a natural heritage. So, but it'll be a conversation we have with local residents that are interested in being part of conservation and talking what that looks like for education or whatever. So studies, we've had a lot of studies. Some maybe a little more controversial than others, but so we've gone through this Trails Master Plan, which is complete now and ready to go, and a lot of good information in there and where we're going in the future and interconnectivity between subdivisions. Our Transportation Master Plan and Roads Needs Study, bit of an eye-opener there. One water rate, we about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we adopted our one water rate. Could be a little controversial, but we know it needs to be done. Asset management plan, we adopted that a couple of weeks ago as well. And I'd like to thank the council for understanding where we are and where we need to be with the asset management, because it's very important. I'll touch back. I'm sure the press are going to jump on that one, but anyway. So as far as asset management goes, there's been a lot of things said in the press and questions asked, and this is an absolute necessity. There's no way we can do it without it, and should have been done a very long time ago, but it wasn't. We know what our deficit is, and it's a massive deficit, whether it's roads, or all of our parks, buildings, water. And when you look at Southwold, we've had spurts of massive growth over the past, since I've been on council. And when you put in about 150 kilometers of water pipe in about a 15-year period, it has to be replaced. And it will be replaced in about that same length thing. We can't borrow that kind of money. It's not possible. And you can't rely on grants. We know grants, you're just divisive among municipalities with grants, and I wish MP Flack was still here, because really it needs to be consistent funding, which we don't have. And instead of fighting over grants all the time, I don't think that's the way to go. So then you jump down to Tallville and all the growth we've seen in Tallville over the past 5 or 6 years. And it's just one thing after another, where when you finish up one project, like water lines, you're going to be right into the next project, which would be water, sewer, roads, the whole 9 yards at that point. Where's the money coming from? You can't borrow that kind of money. It's massive, like it's $1 million a kilometer. And so asset management brings the reality to us that says you're $1 million short a year on your asset management. That's a big number, and it has to. So I know my council, it was a bit of a gut check, but we adopted ours and said we're going to do it over 15 years. But that comes with a cost to your taxes. But the reality is, and I think every municipality in Ontario is wrestling with this to some degree, some more than others. But for the most part, I've heard locally it's all about roughly the same, where we're all in this, and it's going to cost us a lot more money in property tax over the next few years. So in closing, a lot of positive growth for the future. Hardworking, knowledgeable staff and progressive council have made that possible, along with the help of the province of Ontario. And it's going to be another busy year ahead, another couple busy years ahead, because this project just keeps rolling through, and we're looking forward to the net result when it comes to the end of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Jones. Next, from the City of St. Thomas, His Worship Joe Preston.
Well, thank you, Paul. It's nice of you to get all my friends together. What an incredible good room to use for this. I was sitting here reminiscing a little bit. Kate, I'm going to center you up for a minute. But one of my first community responsibilities in this community after I became a business person here was working with the St. Thomas Stars. I think Kate was 8. I was older. And so it's nice to return to the Memorial Arena every now and again. It's a great place. First of all, I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce. I think the mix of business and politics is critical for the success of our communities, the province, and the country itself. And adding the business thoughts to how government works is very important. Paul's a little shy and won't always tell you how great the Chamber of Commerce is, but it is. From an advocacy point of view and from a sharing of good ideas, Chambers of Commerce gives us this room of community groups and businesses and just great citizens a chance to share collectively as to how we should how we should run the place. I don't know if anybody knows, but I made a bit of an announcement yesterday that I will not be running for mayor in the fall of 2026, but that I've got 8 more months to finish a lot of work we've got going on, and I'm purposely looking at my council and the rest of my friends from the City of St. Thomas as I say this. There's been no stronger group to work together. Grant mentioned it about his council. I'll say it over and over again. Our council learned full 8 years ago that we're a governance body, not a management body. We're not there to go get things done or pick the size of the pipe. We're there to say there's going to be a pipe. And it's been a great group to do it. And it works a lot. And it works well together to do it that way. But boy, you better have the other side of that same equation also working for you, and have a city manager and a leadership team in your city that gets those things done when somebody like Mayor Joe or the council dreams them up. It's been a time of dreaming in St. Thomas over the last little while, and boy, some of the dreams are starting to come true. But some of the dreams also attracted other dreamers. Whether it's a great group from PowerCo that have come and joined us in our community from around the world, and we've visited them there too. But the dreams in just such a short period of time to say, you know what, we can do this. Or the dream of Element 5, someone who says they can take great big logs from somewhere in northern Ontario and turn it into cross-laminated beams and become the leader in that from St. Thomas, Ontario. Our region is blessed by the other dreamers that have chosen to come here. Vianode, Magna for years before. You name the businesses that have dreamed that St. Thomas and region was a great place to come from. It makes our job easy to keep dreaming the same way. I mentioned about the mix of business and politics, and of course, for those of you that love our favorite social media, there's been talk about how can you do both? How do you do both well? How isn't one lining the pocket of the other? And I just love those types of late night conversations I can have on St. Thomas happenings. But I don't think you do anything if you don't work together. I don't think you get anything accomplished if you don't find other people of like minds or of opposing minds that can decide that something can happen, can work together. I was up to Ottawa last week and reminded how much I loved partisan politics. And I love municipal politics because you don't have to. You can make friends. You can talk friendly. You can suggest an idea, and it may not be what somebody else suggested, and it will still occur because collectively you can do it. And whether it's a community group, a not-for-profit group, a municipal government, or businesses, it's just so much more comforting to be able to find friends in what you're getting done than to make enemies and never get anything done. So I thank the council, I thank the leadership team, I thank the city that I get to represent. I thank Stephanie more than just about anybody, but we're looking forward to some new stages in our life, but we're not going anywhere for a number of months. We've got a lot left to do in this community. Look out the door of Memorial Arena and see what can be done when even a developer dreams. Takes a overly polluted piece of land. That thing bubbles in the summertime. And says, you know what? What a great place to put a bunch of apartment buildings. Shh, don't tell the renters. No. By the time we're done with this and the new type of zoning we're using for what we're calling the armory lands, just makes the dream happen on another sense. 1,000 people living in an area overlooking a beautiful ravine and Pinafore Park. What a place to live, right? After 50 or 100 years of it being contaminated railway land and being able to move forward. It just is the type of vision that this whole room demands of its politicians. Demand it of us. Make it work. Downtown St. Thomas, at a point today that has less vacancy than it's had in any of the time I've been here. And I was young when I first came. But it's what we can do by working together with our police services, with our social services, with the community groups that can help us with housing, and work together and have a dream and make that come to fruition. We're being quite recognized. I see Danielle in the room, and I can't call her anything but my hero every time I see her. She's our housing guru. And we've been working forward on homelessness in our community to a point where many other communities are coming to see us each and every week now to talk about how did you get there? How did you do it? Why did that work and this didn't? I think it worked because this room, this many people worked together. We all had a little piece in it. We all said we could. You know, it's like the little engine that could. We were it, and we're able to get there. Have we reached perfection? Nope. Excellence is on the horizon, though. We sure are getting close to getting those types of excellent pieces done. I take Sean Dyke from our Economic Development Corporation and some of the great big dreams that others had. He went, yeah, I can go talk to people about that, and sure enough, bring it back to us. It's been great, Sean. Thank you for your help on it, too. I can't thank everybody in the room, but I can thank you collectively as the best place to live. Yes. Thank you, Richard. The best dreams. My time in politics has been also a time of when people can tell you what you can't get done. Many of you know my slogan is, yes is the answer. Now, what was the question? And in the beginning, they went, well, that's kind of snappy, but what does that mean? Well, it means saying yes to projects right from the beginning and finding out if you can actually do them or not. And boy, we've done more than we didn't. And so this group, this room, this group of people are the ones that do this for us. We thank you. I'm going to move on to another title in 8 months. I've used it already. I'm Bubba. Grandkids call me Bubba, and Mimsy over here. And we're not riding off into the sunset. We're still going to be here. I've shared with my council and with the leadership team and even my own businesses here. I want to be an integral part of what is now a very successful and dream-filled community to be at, and we're going to be here too. So I thank you all for coming out and listening to us today. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Preston. And finally, let's welcome Mayor of the Municipality of Central Elgin, His Worship, Andrew Sloan.
Oops, I'm just going to move that up. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Paul. As you mentioned, we're neighbors, and also to your team for organizing this event and the opportunity to be here with my colleagues for this wonderful annual tradition. In fact, Grant mentioned today that I think this is time number 15 for you. Is that correct? 14. Okay, well, there's hope for next year. As it is a mayor's lunch, we have a couple of mayors here. We have Mayor Giguère from Malahide, who's also the warden. I saw Mayor Richard Leatham from West Elgin. Any other mayors? Next item of business. As everyone said, it's great to see such a strong turnout of community and business leaders. You are people who care deeply about where we live, work, and invest. And your presence, as Joe has reflected, what we all truly believe: when we come together, we move forward together. At last year's lunch, I spoke about the uncertain times we've faced, including the looming threat of U.S. tariffs and questions about Canada's sovereignty. While these challenges may remain, our region has seen strong commitment from new businesses and investments. I want to commend Mayor Preston, Minister Flack for their work in securing these local investments. As the Premier stated recently at the Vianode opening, 10%, or almost $11 billion of foreign direct investment is coming to our region. A year ago, we were in the midst of a provincial election. And after Rob, well, he's not here, so after Rob squeaked back in, he doubled down on his commitment to understanding the key issues facing our riding and to ensuring adequate resources were available to allow our local communities to prosper. The most recent announcement brought another $30 million to the region, a hallmark investment and one that will provide $9.3 million in provincial funding to support flood mitigation in Port Stanley. This funding will help protect our residents, businesses, and community assets from future flooding events. Mayor Joe, with today's news, I want to say we have 8 months left, and I look forward to continuing to work with you on key files. You have spent decades as a public servant in various capacities, much to the benefit of our region and the city of St. Thomas. You are a true community champion. Allison and I wish you and Stephanie our sincere best wishes. Our communities are growing, our communities are changing, and with that growth comes opportunity, but also responsibility. As a council, our role is to plan thoughtfully, listen carefully, and make decisions that balance today's needs with tomorrow's priorities. This past year marked an important shift in how we serve our community and how Central Elgin plans for the future. Our planning services are now delivered directly by the municipality, and going forward, all planning-related inquiries and applications can be directed to our municipal team, and I want to be clear, we're here to help. Bringing planning services in-house allows us to be more responsive, more accountable, and better aligned with our community's long-term goals. One of our priorities this year is long-term planning for the services and spaces that bring people together. We're currently developing a community services master plan, a comprehensive plan that will help guide decisions over the next 5 years, ensuring we are improving accessibility and supporting a high quality of life for residents of all ages. And this work, it matters not just for families and individuals, but for the local economy. Strong community service help attract workers, support tourism, and make our municipality a place where businesses want to locate and invest. Mayor Jones mentioned a chance of a lifetime. Earlier this week, Council approved the final policy directions and the land use plan, formally initiating the official plan amendment for the former psychiatric hospital lands. This is a significant milestone, reached after a year and a half of work, and we are now beginning our second round of community engagement. This next phase is about redefining the details, such as housing, park locations, transportation networks, and community amenities. Our goal is to confirm priorities and gather final comments that will inform the draft official plan amendment. I strongly encourage residents, businesses, and community partners to stay involved and share your feedback. Developments of this scale will shape Central Elgin for generations, and your voice matters. Our intent from the beginning has been clear. We're planning for a community that is a great place to live, work, and visit, one where residents enjoy a high standard of living and an exceptional quality of life. We want this community to be both financially and environmentally sustainable. That means planning for a full range of housing types, along with community services, commercial uses, and future provincially led developments, which will be on part of the site. By taking responsibility for planning these lands, we can ensure they are developed as an innovative, complete community, one that meets and exceeds provincial planning objectives. Central Elgin is keen to help maximize the investment that is expected to reshape our region. We have the tools. We have the physical, natural, financial, and human resources needed to be ready for the growth ahead. From infrastructure and parks to community programs and staff capacity, we've been laying the groundwork to ensure Central Elgin is a community prepared for the years to come. We are rising to the occasion and taking proactive steps to ensure that as our population grows, our services, our amenities, and natural spaces will all grow with it. As this is the last Mayor's Lunch of the term, I would like to reflect for a moment and give some perspective on the initiatives that have served our constituents well. Over this term, residents have shared their concerns, ideas, and priorities, and Council has worked hard to respond in practical ways. One of the most important ways I have approached the role as mayor is by listening and taking community feedback seriously. From traffic safety to increased community support, we've heard the concerns and acted. After residents shared positive experience with a similar program in St. Thomas, we partnered with the YMCA to offer discounted swimming passes, and now other municipalities are following suit. Staying connected on a personal level has been a key focus for me and why I introduced monthly office hours. Also, many of my councillors have done regular annual community town halls. In fact, Lyndhurst Councillor Connors and Belmont Councillor Bachman were trendsetters in this, and it's been a very worthwhile undertaking, and they're here today. These conversations have helped shape decisions throughout this term and ensure our policies reflect community needs. As mayor, I'm proud of the collaboration I see across councils, staff, community groups, and the business sector. There is a real momentum here and real potential. Together, we can continue building a community that is welcoming, well-planned, and full of opportunity, now and for generations to come. In closing, and as we look ahead to this election year, I want to encourage everyone or anyone consider running for municipal office to get involved and have your voice heard. There are many resources available to support prospective candidates, and as always, your voice on election day will continue to help shape the future of our communities. Once again, my thanks to Paul and the Chamber. I look forward to continuing this conversation with the Q&A. Thank you.
I'm not sure we need to get any more comfortable, but I'm going to start off with a bit of a softball sort of question that starts more with praise. And that's really just an opportunity to note some of the great things that are happening here. You mentioned, and I think both of you, Andrew and Grant, the $61 million investment that the province is making in key infrastructure. I think that's, might be a one-time thing, but very exciting. And this actually applies more to the county at large, but I was thrilled to see the idea of widening Highbury Avenue integrated in the transportation master plan. We need one straight road to the 401, be super helpful. And you alluded and talked about Danielle over there in terms of St. Thomas's continued leadership in the way of addressing homelessness and mental health and addiction. And I'm invited to other communities to speak, and I have no part to play in it, just to know the key players and to spread the word about that leadership. So my question is, with all those feathers in your caps, are there any other success stories that the people in this room should be aware of? We're gonna, nope. Turn it on.
Got it now. That going to work now? Great. I touched on it a little bit, and I know each of the other mayors did the same thing. One of the greatest successes about our region, and most of the stuff that we've worked on is truly regional. It may have been centered someplace, but it helps all of us around. But I mentioned it in mine, is the fact that our communities work together. And the community groups, even not-for-profits, work so well together in our region compared to what I see other places. And I know, Paul, you get to travel too. There's too much time that is spent in other communities near us, north of us, London. Where they're not always as cohesive or sharing ideas and celebrating somebody else's success. We do a pretty good job of celebrating what somebody else got right, then stealing the idea and making it ours. But that's okay. It works. So to answer your question, just how well we work together and that we still know each other. And a phone call at 8 o'clock at night from me to you or to Rob or to Doug Terry or whoever it might be still happens in our community.
I can see, Grant, the microphone was edging up.
I guess for me, one thing I didn't mention, and as warden last year, I had an opportunity to sit in with Mayor Morgan, Mayor Preston, warden of Oxford, and warden of Middlesex. We sat down and had a round table discussion twice about how we can work together on items like transportation specifically, but other things. So it's nice to see that we're talking together for the betterment of everybody. That hasn't happened in the past, and so I congratulate Josh for actually putting it together, but I think it's a great first step, and part of that Highbury, I have come out of that second discussion, which I wish the province had maybe talked to us about before they started doing the second phase of the bypass. I think Highbury is probably a better option and cheaper.
Yeah, fantastic. Andrew, anything to...
I had the opportunity to touch on, I think the most significant focus for the municipality has been the development of the former psychiatric hospital lands. And for Central Elgin and Elgin County, this is, it's a bit of a game changer. So I'm just going to reiterate that I think that's one of the key positive benefits. We also, through the funding which Minister Flack announced, as I said, there's a phased project for Port Stanley for flood mitigation. Having a harbor, a town on a harbor, a village on a harbor, isn't the cheapest undertaking. The dredging, I think, was $3.5 million, and it's to happen every 7 years. If anyone knows of a dredge for sale, I would...
We might as well own one.
Yeah, might as well own one or start doing on the North Shore. So with flood mitigation, we appreciate the government's stepping up for that. Both levels have done so. So the recent funds by Minister Flack are well received.
Okay, and you can tell Andrew really cares about the community because we live on top of the hill.
Especially this one.
Right.
You have a good view of it. No.
Right. Dig a little bit deeper because you talked about the development of the psych lands, and we see all this growth. And I know we're not going to be able to touch on all of it with the various questions that we have, but What is kind of the current dream, the current ambitions for the psychiatric lands?
So I think it's obviously mixed use. It's looking to be affordable, accessible housing, a variety of community services. As I think many know, the province is keeping back or plans to keep back certain acreage for provincial-led initiatives. We can, think of what those might be pertaining to everything from education, healthcare, long-term care for older residents. So I think the next step is we have another community session on the 24th of February and followed one in March to get more community feedback. It was a big decision that we passed this week, and I think you'll see a lot of action and interest and movement in the psych file in the next couple of months.
Amazing. Joe, you look like you wanted to comment on that, or you?
Oh, I'm applauding it.
You're
so.
right. Got the fan gallery over here. So some of the softballs to start off, and this one, I think you're all entangled with it being municipal leaders, and this was submitted on the sly right before. I'm just going to, real quick comment, we asked for members to submit questions. We had like 20, 30 questions submitted, but just to clarify, that was by 2 people. They each had like 10 each. I think Alan Weatherhall's in the room, and if you saw me, I lost your sheet of questions, so I have no idea what they are. But I feel like maybe we've captured some of them we've asked. But I could introduce this softly as healthcare and what's the role of municipalities, and I've asked that question repeated times. I still wear that healthcare hat, even though I've got a liberal arts education. The hospice. I think from the city's come through with land and some dollars. The county's had it to council a couple times. What's the status? What's the opportunity? Is it likely to be supported from county funding? So you're right next to me, sir. You chose the individual chair.
Obviously, I am a supporter of hospice. The charity golf tournament money went to hospice. I was a little disappointed on what happened and how it happened. I think maybe our language and our bylaw maybe need to be tweaked to make it more clear. It's unfortunate it's happened. I think it's, and I know Karen Vecchio's letter to council said it very eloquently, that this is needed, and I think when you start talking about religious lines, that's a very blurred line, and I think that needs more clarity.
Andrew, any thoughts? Are you going to stay out of this one?
Well, I mean, I appreciate what the Deputy Warden, Mayor Jones has said. I'm a proponent of hospice and worked with the team at the start, have contributed personally and tried to bring it forward to Elgin County. We work in a democracy, and I'll accept the decisions as they're made, but continue to work on any possible mutual partnerships with the hospice.
Awesome.
And just real quick, the city's been all in from the beginning, and like all great things that happens in Elgin County and in southwestern Ontario, we got it done. It's there, it's operating. We'll work out the rest of it. We really will, because community-wide, we're very good at fixing these things, even if they're after the fact.
Right? And I think the one thing that I've tried to champion since I've moved home, and that was over 13 years ago, was just some of the excellence that happens in our community, that what we do, I don't think we even appreciate it enough. So I'm not sure if this is your own pat on the shoulders, and you mentioned it, like 10% of all foreign direct investment in Ontario since 2021 has happened in St. Thomas. We are the leading community in the province in terms of addressing, and I would say nationally, in terms of addressing homelessness. That's to say nothing of like the NHL Hall of Famers, the Hollywood stars, right, now with their own stars on the Walk of Fame. So I think we need to recognize it might be small town St. Thomas, small town Elgin County, but there's some really amazing things here. And I mean, like, dream big, for it. And you talked about dreams for it, and I know you're going off council, but what do you want to see, like, in 10 years? Like, what, I don't know, are we talking about legacy already? What's your legacy?
Well, look, just having been involved with such a great group of people and great group of municipalities around St. Thomas has been something I'll remember forever. But it's sometimes more important. It's the mom that comes up to you in the superstore and says, you know what you just did? You made it so my kids don't have to leave town. You know what you just did? You made us as important as other things around us, and let people say this is a great place to be. Paul, I know you run into it, and Mayor's the same thing. It's not everybody settles in the city of St. Thomas, but they sure settle in our region. I continue to meet people who've been here from 0 to 5 years. They're not from here, and they are happier than heck to be here in St. Thomas and the region. And so, these are the things we can be proud of for a long time. And look back, and I don't know, I remember driving with my father when I was a child, and he'd say, we used to live there, and I helped put that addition on, right? Those types of things. I just look forward to driving through St. Thomas the rest of my life saying, you remember when that was an open field? Do you remember when the hospice wasn't there? Do you remember when the psych hospital lands was this kind of desolate area of green space that could be so many more things? When Yarmouth Yards was empty, and now it's got such huge progress happening there. It's stuff we'll all look at forever.
Right, and I kind of joke, I think one of the most important things, if you're moving here, you're new to the community, you need to know what was the building 3 times before what the building is currently.
Yeah,
Like
Elgin directions.
Right, yeah, like that's Mother's Pizza.
Go to the old White House,
Yeah.
and then turn right and go to where the big oak tree used to be. And yeah. Thank you for 911 numbers.
Right? Yeah, I spent enough time with Ken Monteith to
Yes.
have the entire legacy of Elgin County being like, do you know what was here 100 years ago? I'm like, I hope it was trees.
Yeah.
Andrew, at the end of your speech, you taught, and I'm not even going to be like, are you running again? People can ask you that in private, none of my business right now. But you talked about kind of encouraging maybe people in this room to run or to consider it. And, from the outside, it looks somewhat not like the funnest role, not very well paid, whole bunch of time. But can you maybe inspire, I don't want to do it, but maybe for those people who are interested in inspiring them, like why did you do it, I suppose? Why does it matter? And, what have you gotten out of it?
Nothing worth having comes without a bit of a fight. I thought public service was something that had been done in my family, and it was a way to finally put to rest that, complaining about things and not trying to change them. Every job, there's good days and bad days. I think in public service, the good days outweigh the bad days. I'm going to talk to you about the person in the supermarket. It's been 3.5 years or 3 years and 3 months, and I saw a couple on Talbot Street in the grocery store, and they smiled, and I sort of knew who they were. I knew that I'd met them, and finally when I met them the second time, he stopped and he said, I had a dream about you last night. And his wife made very clear it was because we'd had a communication go out called the Central Elgin Connect, which has my picture on it. So I think she was worried that maybe there was something she should know about. But no, meeting the people is very rewarding, and helping people on a particular file can be very rewarding. I think my council and I would agree that we can't help every single person, but we can at least, as to quote the famous Delaney Leach, people just want to be heard. So we need to give them that opportunity to at least come forward and tell us what a problem might be. And as Joe says, we can then not immediately say there's no solution, but to work towards a possible solution. We don't please all the people, but at least I think my council and I, we're open and accessible by phone, by email. I mean, listening to folks is the most important part of the job.
Is there something you wish you knew 3 or 4 years ago before you decided again that you know now?
Well, from a business background, some of the stuff takes a little longer than one would expect. But overall, I'm surprised at the different viewpoints that the members bring forward. Sometimes that can be super helpful, and sometimes it can be a bit of a challenge. But it's what makes a community great. I mean, if you look at places like Belmont or Port Stanley, for us to have a mix, it's, the dream community isn't one filled with wealthy retirees, because then your school goes. right? At the end of the day, you need all levels, all socioeconomic backgrounds to create a diverse, welcoming, and sustainable community. So what have I learned? I've learned that people mean well. I've learned that people can be somewhat harsh and nasty as hell, but my favorite one's always apologize. I had a call from a lady who said, please, would you do me one favor? And I said, yes. And she said, don't listen to the voicemail I left you. And it's a true story. The council will know it was over Port Stanley and some stairs, as I recall. And I said to her, okay, I'll give you one chance. I said, I'll delete it, and I won't. And she said, thank you, I won't. I just feel really badly. I'd had a bad day. When you have a bad day, sometimes that comes through. I make the joke, Paul, that you go into the bank or you call Rogers and you listen to a recording which says, raise your voice, be, somewhat less than pleasant, you're done. You call anyone on this stage or any of the council or the members of municipal government that are here, and they don't always get that. They don't get that recording. They get people that are very frustrated, many for good reason and some for no reason, but that's part of the game. And I'll go back to, it's the good days sure outweigh the bad days for me.
Awesome. After I watched the mayor's update last night, like most people in this room, I read through all of your strategic plans. No, they're good. They're good. Sorry, that was a lead-in. But agriculture, even in St. Thomas, was mentioned as an opportunity, as something, though, that also kind of had to be guarded or for fear of the growth that's happening will eat up and cannibalize all that. From an economic perspective, how do we balance that growth with the maintenance of agriculture, whether it's agriculture for just food production, from the economic value, or from the heritage of it? How do we keep that small town feel, but with bigger town opportunities?
You're looking at me, so I
Sorry. Yes, Grant. You've had 14 years to prepare for
yeah,
that
I know. Well, we found out just how much of a challenge that can be with the growth in Fingal and Shedden. It's not easy, and me being a fifth-generation farmer, a retired farmer, I understand it. On the other hand, council has to look at it from both sides, and we know we're going to grow. That's been in our strategic plan for 3 iterations, plus a sustainability plan before that we knew we had to grow to be able to sustain ourselves. But that comes with challenges because farm equipment keeps getting bigger, even though maybe the rules of the road don't really allow it, but it still grows bigger and bigger and wider. So now we have the issue where we're redeveloping the downtown core, and farmers want wider lanes. Well, wider lanes come with another challenge that cars go faster because it's a wider lane, they feel safer, they can drive faster. So it's a matter of being able to try and solve 2 problems, and I don't think, hopefully at the end of the day, we come to an agreement that's satisfactory, that keeps our citizens safe, plus keeps agricultural equipment moving through, probably slower than it was. I think some of the new equipment drives very fast. It's a lot faster than it probably should through a residential area. So I think it's going to be a discussion I know we have to have with our local agricultural leaders yet with Elgin County, but it's a give and take, and I think we both have to understand both sides of the story.
Okay. So all I've heard is that we might see some combines pulled over for speeding.
Definitely sprayers.
Okay. You've all kind of mentioned this, whether it's been sitting on the couches or standing at the podium, the growth that's happening, the regional collaboration, and I love to hear that. Again, when I have the opportunity to speak to other communities, they're like, why is it working in St. Thomas, and like, what can we do? And I'm like, I'm not sure people just seemingly get along. That's not to say we're obtuse or we ignore our differences of opinions or kind of the approach that we're taking, but I do find a beauty in that. But with that growth, I mean, the opportunity, we are part of the 11th largest census metropolitan area in the entire country. London, it should be London St. Thomas, I'm working on that. But, and you mentioned diverse, welcoming, and caring, and Sonia from the St. Thomas Elgin Local Immigration Partnership, who delivered that beautiful land acknowledgement and the recognition of Black History Month that gave us really specific action. So thank you for that. But how do we nurture that in our community? We're growing in diversity, we're growing in these so many ways. What can we do as community leaders? What can we do as elected representatives to make that, like, the multiculturalism can work, because it's working here, it can work in small towns. Where can we take that ambition?
Well, the first thing, Paul, is we're attracting people from areas where it's already working better than here. And not that anything was going wrong here, it just hadn't happened here yet. And then, as was stated during the land acknowledgement and that piece, is you can't just acknowledge, you've got to act. There has to be activity that goes along with saying, this is good if we do this. Well, what is this? What activity is it? It just is modern society that we're going to be diversified. Canada grew by a lot of immigrants in the last number of years, will continue to, but even as we've learned, first generation, second generation, and third generation doesn't change them, right? The community accepts them, and that's the change.
I just add that to affordability and a diversity of housing is increasingly important, and that with it comes a healthy mix. So I think those are key components.
And assumingly, like, you know, we mentioned Doug Terry in the room, I'm not sure there's any other home builders or developers, but is that part of the mix or the conversation that at least you were looking for the input from people? Is that already on the radar when you talked about that session you're having about the psychiatric lands?
Absolutely, it comes up, and the builders that come and see us, I mean, they understand what they need to sell a product, and are offering homes that, you know, and you mentioned Mr. Terry, but with leadership when it comes to sustainability. Central Elgin just, you know, worked with the Terrys on a park which was named after Mr. Terry, whose first name, I'm sorry, I don't know. What was the first name? Greg Terry Park, which we were pleased to work with. I've worked with the Terrys very, you know, on important files like this, and I think the Terrys, the Colliers, the Hayhoes, the Don Wests, all the folks that are contributing understand and want a multiculturally mixed community.
If I can just add one more, Grant, because it's based on the agriculture question that was asked also. We resist sprawl as much as we can possibly resist sprawl into usable farmland. So we're continuing now to look at land like I pointed to outside these doors and saying we need to take this, fix it, and build as high and as dense as we can inside our communities because it fills another need. You know, we talked a lot about, well, but we took Yarmouth Yards and we put another 1,500 acres into industrial park. Industry has a tough time being tall. Industry needs a bit of space. So we have to look at what else could be tall. I had a conversation with the school board the other day, and we said, we're going to build a couple new schools in St. Thomas because, boy, it's well past time. And they said, yeah, but we need this many acres. And I asked why. I said, why can a high school not be 5 stories tall? And it was like I had said something rude. Right? Well, that isn't what we do. I said, yeah, I know, but why couldn't it be? Why couldn't we shrink the footprint of land, put a football field next to it, and call it a high school? Why can't we do that piece of land and put a daycare center with it, along with a school? Build our rec center that we want to build attached to a high school, so that we're making things denser and more easy for all to achieve.
I guess Southwold, we had the opportunity with the Tietzel property and the Stoss property where we owned acreage. We could have chose just to put it on the market and got the highest dollar, but council chose not to do that. We chose to go to an RFP, and we said, this is what we want to see, give us your best proposal. And DHP got the first chunk of land based on the proposal they give us, based on mixed density, high or medium and low density, and the price per acre, obviously. And Crossroad Domus will be obtaining that piece of property based on the same criteria, where show us your best and we'll judge what you have. And so it worked out great for us. We'll have mixed density, walkable community, the whole 9 yards, and that was part of the criteria, is just show us what you're best at and do it.
Awesome. I'm going to make sure everyone's out of here. Well, do my best. You're going to be part of this too, but by 1:30, which is about 6-7 minutes from now. And so I'm not going to ask this one, but I'm going to take this offline. I was at the Downtown Development Board in St. Thomas this morning talking about some frustrations businesses are having in St. Thomas and most likely in Southwold and Central Elgin surrounding recycling and the program that the government instituted to reduce or increase recycling that is leading to seemingly more garbage, but that's a little editorial. I'm going to give you, I will summarize a few things for the folks out there and give you a minute or so each to share some closing remarks. I talk often, if you've been to any of our business after fives, we talk about the purpose of the chamber. We're a member-driven organization. We have no purpose without you. Like it's our entire job is to serve you, and sometimes we do it obsessively. Hopefully we mostly do it right, and we do like to hear when we do. But again, if there's something that you want to see, if there's a conversation you would like to hear, if there's guest people that you'd like to be brought into town, I mean, clearly let us know. But I also want to thank, and I want to put it back in, we've talked about kind of some of the magic sauce about what happens in our community, that we're collaborative, that we talk to each other, that we care. And I mean, you didn't have to show up today. I mean, there was a lunch, maybe you didn't pay for it, the business did, the food was great again, but you showed up. You're in this room, you show up to other things. I see, you sit on boards. I mean, our former MP retired, and my wife's like, what's Karen up to? And I'm like, well, she's on the hospice, and she's on Fanshawe College, she's on the Central Community Health Center, she's marrying people. So your care and you're engaged in our community. So, if I was able to distill it down for other things, it's showing up, it's being present, and it's space. It's being in the room like we are today. So in that sense, keep it up, and thank you, and a round of applause for yourselves.
Yeah, thank you.
So where do we start? We started off with, you guys are in order the way you went. We're going to reverse it. Already, Andrew Sloan, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. I'm not timing at all, but like, they want to go.
I will.
We
Okay,
ran out of
thanks,
Diet
Joe.
Coke earlier.
One thing you mentioned was you asked me if there was anything I didn't know when I started that I know now. It's how controversial pickleball can be. So, oh my goodness. So the key files that you never thought you'd have to address. But if there's any aficionados here, I'm on your side.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, always appreciate the chance to come forward. You've brought up some great points. I think we're going to see unprecedented growth here. Once there's a stability with the U.S. and back and forth in Canada, and the continued good relationship that we've had for historically will no doubt come back, that there will be tremendous growth in this area. For municipalities, the key will be how do we keep up with the growth? How do we keep the small town charms? How do we make sure that the communities that we have are sustainable? At the end of the day, the unbelievable investment that's coming forward, I believe is going to change the face of our region. It will not be the place that you remember, Joe, with your dad.
Right.
But you're also bringing forward that a lot more people will be able to remember it with their dad, due to the opportunities that will be here. So on behalf of the council who are here today and my colleagues at Central Elgin and the staff, we always appreciate the interest that people have in municipal government, and they're here to serve, we're here to serve. This is a great tradition, one that I very much enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. And occasionally, we on a drive to somewhere or after a board meeting somewhere else, we get to share these thoughts with each other too. That, hey, did you notice that how many people know exactly what the municipal governments do, the county governments do, the provincial government is responsible for and the federal government's responsible for. And the cloudy areas in the middle of all of that is where we mostly get caught, right? So thank you for bringing up recycling. We may have been responsible for collecting it up until the 1st of January. It's now a provincial issue. We're working with them, but we're also looking municipally as to can we fill a role that's no longer being filled. So we'll go there. Look, I just want to say thank you. I've had the best job in the world for the last 7 and a bit. And it has been, as we've all said, there certainly is minutes of it that aren't as good as you might like. But there are hours of serving people in the right way and getting great things done. And if I don't have the answer, I've got friends I can call. If I don't have answers, I've got other levels of government. I did see Karen come in too, and I can't miss that one of my greatest advisors is still friends you make over time in other levels of government. And so I thank you all for being as kind as you've been. I could read out a couple of names from St. Thomas Happenings to see if it's actually you or not. But mostly it's been moving our community forward in a great way, and I'm proud of being able to be with you and have had the chance to have done so.
So I guess over my career, you have to learn to roll with the punches because there's a lot of punches over 23 years.
Yep.
You have to have thick skin, but if you really enjoy it, you'll keep at it. Yep. And there's always another challenge coming up the road and another challenge that you want to meet. That's been my philosophy.
Alrighty, I got to drag this out for one more minute. Thank you again to today's Lunch with the Mayor sponsors, Enbridge, Libro Credit Union, Graham Scott Ends, Elgin Business Resource Centre, Manage Point Technologies, Business Development Bank of Canada, London St. Thomas Association of Realtors, 94.1 My FM, and Gearlinks Home Hardware. Thank you so much for joining us today. Get home safely, and we'll see you again soon.
Yeah. Thank you all.